As you know, we do have a special guest speaker for this morning, Alexander Michael Gittens.
Greatness Guaranteed, a keynote speech by Alexander Michael Gittens.
Hello, everybody. How is the weekend going so far? Yes? Nervous, excited, feeling good? Okay, well, what I did was I wrote down a few questions I have for you, because we're going to get to know a little bit about me, but I want to know a little bit about you first. Okay, so raise your hand if this sounds like you. Number one, I am not okay with living a normal life. Ooh. I put normal in quotes, but air quotes, my hands are full, but yes. Okay, how about this one? At a very young age, I knew the life that I wanted was different than family members and friends. Ooh, okay. How about this one? I sometimes struggle to define the exact way in which I will become successful, but I'm determined to do so. And we almost have like 100% on all. Okay, how about this one? This one is me, yeah? I occasionally have doubts about whether or not I'll be successful, and honestly, I have some fear of failure. Yeah, that's pretty normal. The last one was my favorite. This one I came up with last night. I have something inside of me that will not allow me to give up on myself. Okay, I even heard an audible remark over here. Nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. Well, you heard a little bit about my education. You heard a little bit about my profession. But what you didn't hear is that for most of my life, I was unbelievably confused. I was very frustrated. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and I didn't know how. Do we have any lawyers here today? Is anyone a lawyer here? We have one lawyer. Why did I hear a boo? Okay. So help me out. We only have one lawyer here. You're not allowed to answer. But if I wanted to be a lawyer, what should I probably do when I'm in high school?
Sell your soul.
Wow. Wow. Well, you see how quickly he answered, right? So, this person's a family lawyer, bringing back families together and making things whole. What should I do in high school if I want to be a lawyer? Study hard. Yeah? Okay, so when I turn 18, 17, 18, what should I do then?
Study again?
But what? Okay, so someone said go to university, yes? Yeah, get an undergrad. What should my undergrad be in?
Legal studies, criminology.
Criminology, legal studies, anything like that. Okay. Now, what should I do when I graduate or I'm about to graduate from university?
Sue somebody.
This whole section over here. Okay, yeah. So the LSAT. Someone said the LSAT. Has anyone heard of the LSAT before? Yes. After I write the LSAT, I should get into what?
Law school.
Law school. After law school, what do I do?
Write the bar.
Yes, I'm articling right. Do you see how everyone here knows the steps to being a lawyer? Yeah? My frustration came because I didn't know what I wanted to do. What are the steps if you're really passionate about music? What are the steps if you absolutely love business, but you don't really see yourself in a corporate background? What are the steps if you want to create something beautiful, but you don't even really know who you are? What do you do? Friends, that frustrated me. It confused me. It was this lonely feeling I had all the time, and I didn't know what to do with it. Worse still, I come from an immigrant family. How many people here come from an immigrant family or speak a language other than English at home? That's most of us. And we were poor. We started off poor, as most of our immigrant families do. But then my dad got sick. Has anyone ever had a family member get sick for an extended period of time? I see a lot of people nodding, yes. So we went from being poor to like extra poor. And I remember hearing over and over again, son, we wish we could do this for you. We wish we could provide this, but we just don't have it. I was fortunate, though. I played music, I played baseball, so at least I got to see a different life, and I told myself, when I get the opportunity to do my own thing, I'm going to make sure we never go through this kind of hardship again. Yes? So I grew up in 3 of what they call at-risk neighborhoods. Anyone heard of at-risk neighborhoods, yeah? So it's basically neighborhoods where there's a combination maybe of low economic status and maybe some crime and just a lot of horrible things. And I was a super shy kid growing up. I know that's hard to see now, but I was like painfully shy growing up. And so here I am in this bad neighborhood, coming from a very challenging situation, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And it was a very frustrating time for me. I came this close to being the negative stereotype of a young black male. I got involved in the streets. I got involved in the legal system, and I just told myself, I'm going to do whatever I can do to make money. Because once I get money, then people are going to respect me. Once I get money, then I'm going to have more confidence to speak up. I'm going to look better. I'm going to feel better. That was the way that I thought it would work. I ended up at the bottom. I owed a ton of money. I was dealing with all kinds of legal problems. And there was a space where I had to ask myself 2 questions. How did I get here? And what kind of man do I want to be? Yes? Right at the bottom there. I had this space where I had to decide that. And I made 2 decisions that day that really kind of helped pave my path to greatness. So I'm going to share with you those 2 decisions and then 3 rules I've made. And I guarantee you, like who gives you a guarantee like this? I guarantee you, if you use these 3 ways of operating, then the highest form of your greatness will be your experience. Sound good? Okay, let's get into it. So number 1 is this lesson that says, oh, you know what? I forgot about the greatness definition. I want it to be great, but this is my new definition. Can you guys read it with me? Can you see it? Here we go. Greatness is applying your unique talents, deepest passions, and highest values to create the biggest positive impact for yourself, the people you love, and the world around you. Does that sound good? Yeah. Some of us sometimes forget to create that impact for ourselves, right? But you're no good to anyone if you run yourself down. You can't make an impact on the world and your family and all that if you don't first take care of your own emotional health needs and all of that. Okay, great. So that's our definition for greatness. So here is the first rule of greatness for me. Number 1, I am in control of my actions. Have you ever felt like your decisions weren't your own? You ever felt like because of the family I come from, because of the ethnicity I am, because of the gender I am, because of the age I am, because of the city that I live in, because of my sexual orientation, because of my religion? Have you ever felt like those things control your actions? When I failed so big, I realized many of you have failed before. The difference with the way that I failed, it was 100% my fault. No one told me to do the things I did. I was just so concerned with being bigger and better and making money that I figured it doesn't matter how I do it, because once I get there, then I'll give back. Then I'll create all of the things that I wanted to. But I felt like someone else was controlling my actions. Anyone ever heard of Viktor Frankl? Yes, over here, incredible gentleman. So he was a psychologist. He grew up quite some time ago. And then he became a part of what happened with the concentration camps and the Nazi Germany. And he went through the worst situations. He endured bitter cold weather. He was forced to do hard labor. He lost his family, and he saw all of his friends die around him. He said something. I had to listen because I messed up my own life. I've been hungry before, but I've never been in the cold and frozen. I've never been in a concentration camp. And so I listened when he spoke. And he said that everything can be taken from a person except one thing. And this he called the last of the human freedoms. And that is your freedom to choose in any set of circumstances what your next action is going to be. Your freedom in any set of circumstances to choose what your attitude to that is. See, that's a freedom that can't be taken from you, right? You got to give that away. No matter what happens to you, you get to choose what you do next. So don't become a plaything of circumstance. Don't make yourself a victim. The only difference between a victim and a victor is a victim says, why me? A victim says, this got done to me. A victor says, you know what? Might not be my fault, but it's my problem, and I have to find a way out of it. And a lot of you have been let down, held down by people that are supposed to love you or care for you. A lot of you haven't had perfect families or perfect situations, and none of that's your fault. A lot of people are struggling with anxiety and mental illness. None of those things are your fault. But the moment that you say that this is what it is, and I don't have the freedom to make my next choice. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. But you get to decide what you do next. So the first rule of greatness is let's say it together, is I am in total control of my actions. Okay, so you're saying, Alexander, sounds good, sounds motivational, but what about when things happen outside my control? Anyone have something happen to them in the last 12 months that they didn't see coming that really threw them for a loop, yeah? That's almost every hand up, right? So Viktor Frankl, this incredible psychologist, he had another quote, and I actually wrote it down because I want to make sure that I get this one right. He said that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Don't you love that? Have you ever tried to make your family see things a certain way? Have you ever tried to help the people around you? Just like, you know what, if they can only see this, they have so much potential, I just want to pull it out of them. When we can no longer change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves, yes? So those words brought me hope when I was in a low situation. So now we've known that we need to take care of our actions. We need to take charge of our actions. So we know who, right? Who is me? Who is you? Point at yourself. Who is me? Absolutely. Or you can do it the way they do in football because the name's on the back of their jersey. Who is me? That's right. Absolutely. Okay, but let's find out the next thing. What do I do? What do I do? I know that I'm supposed to do it, but I didn't even know what to do. Okay, so the next lesson here is what do I do? So I used to believe in life that failure was over here, success was over there, and my whole thing was I want to travel this road to success unencumbered by failures. I don't want to fail. I avoided failure like the plague. I didn't want failure in my life. I didn't want to be around people. I thought failure was contagious. Get away from me, you failure-prone individual. I don't do that. Something I've learned which is so interesting is there's 3 kinds of failure, and one of them actually paves your path to greatness. There's a kind of failure that's going to be our second lesson that if you don't have enough of it, then greatness is not going to be your experience. So let's go through them. And by the way, sometimes people tell you to put away your phone. Take your phones out, take notes, connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. If you want all these notes later, I'll send them to you. Definitely engage. But version of failure number 1 is destructive failure. That was me. Oh, I got the destructive kind. Destructive failure is when something doesn't go as you anticipated, but your actions were outside of your values, right? So I was trying to make money the wrong way, and then I failed. But the actions I took were outside of my values. I thought I justified it by saying, once I get this outcome, I'll do the right thing. But you cannot fail the right way. It's just straight failure if you do not align your choices with your values, okay? So that's destructive failure, the worst one. True failure is not getting back up. Isn't that kind of cool? The only way you can actually really fail in life is to not get back up. You know how many times I've gotten back up? I have failed more than everyone in this room, except for maybe this section over here. But I failed more than everyone in this room. I'm just kidding. Combined. Don't sit here. Don't ever sit here. You're going to get picked on. But the point is, I kept getting back up. And I got resiliency from that, yeah? I got courage from that. The first time I ever got on stage, I mumbled for 5 minutes straight. I was so nervous. I was a shy kid. I just got back up and did it again. I just kept doing it, and I got better at it. So you said, Alexander, you've told us what true failure is. You've told us what destructive failure is. What's the kind of failure that you need to actually pave your path to greatness? That's called constructive failure. And you want as much of this as possible. Constructive failure is when something doesn't work out, it's completely horrible, it falls apart, but the actions that you took were 100% aligned with your highest values. You said, my heart beats for this. I've always loved children. I've always loved making people laugh. I've always wanted to build something beautiful. I've always wanted to make the world a better place, but it just didn't work out for me this time. You get up from that and you took a step towards greatness. Oh man, I learned that the hard way. Fail as much as you can inside of your highest values, and greatness will be your experience. Anyone heard of Tridel, the company Tridel here? Some of you might live. Anyone live in a Tridel building? Tridel has built over 80,000 homes in the Toronto area. They're the largest condominium developer in Canada. Tridel came to me and asked me to do some work for them. And I'm thinking, man, I'm a kid from the hood. Now this multi-billion-dollar company wants me to come in and do some work. So I looked at the brief, and they wanted me to help develop their sales channels and talk to their sales manager and come up with sort of a rubric to analyze their sales methods. But that's not what I do. That's not what I do. I'm trained to do that, but you know what I really love? I love it when we can make a ton of money by creating moments of beauty and inspiration and value for people. I love that. I absolutely love it. I consider it the ultimate win-win when we can line our business up with our highest values and be profitable. And I've learned in my own life that when you line your business up and your actions up with your highest values, it acts as a magnet, yeah? The right people come towards you, and clients that are kind of, looking for the wrong thing or just not a great fit or not feeling your energy, they tend to be repelled. So my clients are great because I'm always putting out the kind of energy and values that I have. So I said no. I said no to this billion-dollar company, biggest client I would have ever had. I said no. They asked again the next Christmas. I said no again. But I said, whenever you're ready for me to sit down with your CEO, just give me 15 minutes. I'll tell them what I really do. They asked me a third time, and I said, put me on the schedule for 15 minutes and I'll come by. I didn't tell them I wasn't going to do the sales, but I said I'll come by. I met with the CEO. 15 minutes turned into 3 hours. I told them about my failure. I told them how I grew up in the streets. I told them that every one of my actions is purpose for greatness. I told them that if this company doesn't believe what I believe, we're not a good fit. But I'm not willing to train your sales staff, but I will work with you and your executive team to line every one of your actions up with your greatness. Do you think it's a good idea to tell the CEO of a major company that you went through the criminal system? Yeah, do you think you should do that? How about this? Should you take a 15-minute with a CEO and then switch up the agenda on him last minute? Does that sound like a good deal? No. But here's the thing. Failure would have been inside of my highest values, right? Because I said, you guys keep asking me, I keep saying no, but I will go there and give the most value I can, and I'll try to fail as big. I'm not even going to try and sign this client. I'm going to try and give them everything and fail. Contract, money transferred, still working with them to this day. In the meeting, they said, you're hired. To redo the strategy for one of their, and now subsequent, one of their 15 divisions. Blown away. Now, please don't go into a meeting and say, hey, I went through the criminal. Don't do that. But the point is, lead with your values. Passion is contagious. Don't ever dial it down. Lead with your values. Say, this is what I believe. This is what I want to achieve. This is how we can do it together. That's what people are buying anyway, is the value you provide, not how slickly you can present it. So later today, you're going to be presenting some awesome ideas about smart cities. And when you go back and you're working together, ask yourself, what is the true value in this? How does this make the lives of people better and exciting? And why do we think we're the team to execute it? Then make sure you add all of the hard parts as well. You can't just get up there and just be passionate. You have to actually know what you're doing. But don't forget the human factor. Don't forget the values factor, and definitely connect. Does that sound good? Okay, so here is the second rule of greatness, yes? It is make choices that are 100% inside your highest values with actions that are as uncomfortable as possible. Yes? So you want your actions to be very uncomfortable. You almost always want to think, oh my gosh, I am going to fail. That should be your thought at all the time. But when it comes to your values, you'd say, but this is what my heart beats for. This is something that really resonates with who that I am. So there's this interesting dichotomy between comfort and discomfort. Anyone ever heard that you have to operate outside of your comfort zone? Yes? Jeannie Remedi is the CEO of IBM, and she said, comfort and growth cannot coexist. Do you think that makes sense? So you know you have to be uncomfortable, but only in your actions. Your actions should be as uncomfortable as possible. You should be walking in the door like, good Lord, I'm gonna die today. That's how you should feel all the time. You should feel like dead man. You should play the death march, dun, 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 dun. Be afraid. Let me give you an example. I love children. I wanna make a difference. I wanna volunteer. Okay, great, that's my values. What would be the most uncomfortable way to do that? Maybe in Bangladesh, maybe in Myanmar, maybe traveling and challenging yourself to a new area. That's where the growth is gonna come from, because your whole being knows that you're putting action, you're putting resiliency and courage behind your values. So once you, and you don't have to know your why, you don't have to find your passion or any of that kind of stuff. You just have to say, is this something that I want to represent who I am? And if that's yes, then just try to do it as uncomfortably as possible. I had to unlearn so much. No one told me this stuff, right? Man, it's such a great lesson. Okay, so read it with me together. Here we go. Make choices that are 100% inside your highest values with actions that are as uncomfortable as possible. Okay, so I'm gonna give a $20 prize to the person who remembers rule number 1 right now. Someone remember, oh, I see a hand at the back. What's rule number 1? Absolutely, $20 collect that $20 from the woman directly to your left, okay? Wait, that's just fantastic. Yes, so make action, you're in control of your actions. And number 2, you want your choices to be as uncomfortable as possible in your actions and as comfortable as possible in your values. Yes? Okay, here is the next lesson here, and that is number 3. Now, you remember that I used to say that I thought that greatness was sort of something that you travel towards, yeah? Failure's over there, success is over here. You know what else I thought? I thought it was sequential. I thought that I would do this to get that, to get there. And I was good at it, right? Just like that lawyer thing that we did earlier. I am going to finish my undergrad, then I'm going to start my own business, then get a little bit of experience, do my MBA, then after I do my MBA, I might do a PhD, I might do whatever. I had it all planned out, yes? Anyone's a planner by nature? It's like most people, yeah, you're a planner by nature. But I used to think that I do this to get that. Man, I was so wrong. Second thing I learned about greatness is I used to think that greatness was far away. So you're kind of like a hill, right? Like this is actually how I thought. There's this hill. And as I travel, I'll get closer and closer to the horizon. And then in some glorious Hollywood moment, the skies are going to open and greatness will descend on me. Yes? Yeah, too poetic? Dial it back a bit? So, but that's what I thought. I thought it was far away. Third thing I thought about greatness, I thought it was hidden. Everyone kept telling me to find my passion. You ever heard that? Everyone kept telling me to find my why. I'm like, where am I supposed to look? Where am I supposed to look? I was looking everywhere outside of me for my passion. I love music. Puccini and Jay-Z. I love art, both street art and high art. I love fashion, both incredible suits and really cool design t-shirts. I love children, but I don't want a half five of my own right now. Sorry, there's a lady at the back who's like, oh man, no, I mean, who knows, right? Just not right now, but there's all these dichotomies in my life where it's like, how do I know what to do? How do I know what to do? But it's not hidden. It's not far away. It's not at the end of a long road. It's not sequential. Greatness is here and now. I turned 40 yesterday. I know I don't look a day above 38. I know. I turned 40 yesterday and I had friends fly in from Thailand. My friends are here from Detroit where I did my master's degree. My friends are here from Nova Scotia. We went out on Friday night, and boy, did we tear it up. We went out last night. Follow me on Instagram. The stories should still be there. They're about to disappear, so stop. No, kidding. But crazy. I went home, left my own birthday party last night because my voice was starting to go. Can you hear that? Normally, I'm way more compelling. But my voice was starting to go. And I said to myself, I have committed to being Adventure Weekend tomorrow, and I am going to give these individuals my all. My all. I'm not going to give you my best. No, forget about my best. I did my best when I was on the streets moving stuff, right? That wasn't my best. That's my best. I'm going to give my all because my all involves my mind. It involves my spirit. It involves my heart. It involves my values. It involves my failures and my hopes and my dreams. And all the times that I was in the street and kids were trying to steal my shoes, all the times when I was afraid that I wouldn't become anything, all the times that I wished that someone would knock on the door and see who I was and put me on that stage and say, you can do this. I'm bringing that with me today. I'm not here to do my best. I'm here to give my all. And that's what I've learned about greatness. So let's learn the third rule of greatness here together. And that is, with every decision, you ask yourself, am I okay with this action representing everything I am and will be in legacy? Now you've heard something like this before, right? Live every day as if it was your last. No. I think C.S. Lewis said that. Someone looked that up for me. Someone Google that. Nah. Because if today was my last day, do you think I would have gone to the gym this morning? Check my stories, I was there. Do you think I'd be eating healthy food if today was my last? No. And as much as I'm here to give my all, do you think I'd be here if today was my last? No. I go kiss my nephew, tell my mom I love her, you know what I mean? Have an ice cream sundae. Actions towards greatness are not regret-fueled exploits. They're not desperate, they're purposeful. Don't live every day as if it was your last. Live every moment as if it was your most. Every moment as if it was your most. When I'm here today, I'm not saying that because of the size of the crowd or how good looking you are, because we're in Mississauga. It wouldn't matter if it were one of you, 1,000 of you. I bring my all to every situation I'm in because I understand that greatness is not about finding something or discovering something or looking for something. It's the cumulative effect of each moment purposed for legacy. So I give my all. I met Richard Branson. Hugged him. Oh, I'll tell you, who's Richard Branson? Someone say who that is there, yes? Yeah, he's a billionaire founder of Virgin, right? There's a cool picture of him online because when Obama left office, he went for vacation with Richard Branson. And Richard Branson is known for being a great personality and very jovial. So he's pretending to choke President Obama in the photo. And it's like only he could do that, right? But I met him, shook hands, talked, laughed, hugged, joked. You think from the way I grew up, I ever thought that would happen? Let me tell you how it happened. Someone messaged me on LinkedIn. Happens all the time. I get all kinds of messages on LinkedIn. Hey, AMG, I would love to take you out for coffee and pick your brain. What do you say? What do you think I say when someone says I'd love to take you out for coffee and pick your brain? No. What do you think I say? No? I say, hell no. Yeah. I'm not going out for coffee so you can pick my brain. Because what I hear someone saying is I want to give you $5 to have access to you for an hour. What do you think I say when someone's like, I read your article, and there's parts of it that I was trying to live out, but I'm not sure about the way that it works. Are you ever going to be in my area? Because I'd love to hear you speak and maybe hear you talk afterwards. You know what I say to that person? Come downtown and let's go for coffee. Because that person's not trying to extract value from me. What they're saying is, I want to learn this thing called greatness for myself. Someone messaged me on LinkedIn. Read your articles. I think it's great. I'm changing careers right now. I don't know what to do. I know that you're an entrepreneur from your link. See, they looked into what I actually did. I'm trying to pick my brain. Even literally, pick my brain. No, thank you. Where I grew up, you come up behind me and try and pick me anyway. So the point that I'm making is that she just said, this is where I'm at. I don't know what to do. You seem like you have something I'd love to meet. So come on, let's do it. The only thing I always do is I always say, you come downtown. I'm by the CN Tower. You come downtown, right? Because I mean, that's the only one caveat. So I came and I told her, look, I haven't had a job for 20 years, all right? I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old, right? I guess 21 years now, huh? I'm 40 now, huh? Peep the gray hair. Okay, so she came downtown and we spoke. I just gave it my all. I just said, hey, look, line your actions up with your values. When you go in there, maybe you don't want the job. Start asking about what their values are and all of that. Be prepared. Know everything about the company. Give it your all. Yes? How do you think the story ended, someone? How do you think that story ended? She gave it her all? You know what? I'm not even sure if I know if she gave it her all. But I know she got the job, and I know I didn't realize that it was to be the business development manager for Rogers Small Business Unit, which is $1 billion business unit. I didn't know. I didn't know what altitude she was operating because talking to her was not contingent on how good she was or how much she had to show. It was based on how much we connected on values, yes? So I got a message 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. Yeah, Alexander, just thank you so much for what you did there. I'd love to invite you to the Rogers Cup tennis tournament. I grew up in the hood, man. We don't have no tennis. I'm going, I'm in. So then I got a message from an executive assistant. Give us your name, your license plate. I'm thinking, okay, it seems a little evasive, but I'm going to trust it. I gave them the information. I drove out to York University. Anyone affiliated with York University? One hand. Anyone affiliated with UTM? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I'm always at UTM, so I'm sure I've seen some of you before. But I drove out to York University. They said park in parking lot AA. AA sounds good to me. I get there. There's these lovely young ladies dressed in tennis outfits. They said, hello, Mr. Gittens, right this way. And I'm like, how do you know? But I guess that's why they asked for my license plate, right? They escorted me up, and I went up, and I went up, and the concrete turned into a red carpet. Next thing I knew, I was in the royal box. And I've never been in anything like that before, but you just feel at home. Like, this is more like it. There's a chef cook me whatever I want, Mr. Gittens, I could get used to that, right? So they cautioned us. They said, the players also come in here. Do not talk to them. Novak Djokovic walked by. I almost touched him. I was like, oh, Novak. But the point is, that wasn't even the best moment. Who? Novak Djokovic. Djokovic, yeah. We're talking like top 1, 2 in the world here. Okay, so then what happened? The place fell quiet. And the woman who had invited me there, she's like, just don't turn around. But I think Richard Branson just walked in. I'm like, Richard who? I walked right up to him. I said, hi, my name's Alexander. He said, no, actually, that's not what I said. I said, let me shake the hand of this handsome fellow over here. My name's Alexander. Guess what he said to me? He said, my name's Richard. I'm thinking, bro, everyone knows who you are, my friend. But just see how personable he was. He was matching my energy. And I told him, I'm like, Richard, how long are you here for? How long are you in town for? And he said, well, I've got to leave to Chicago tomorrow to give a speech. I said, Richard, stay in Toronto. It's a much better city. We're about the same size as Chicago. We have like 1/10 of the crime. Stay here. I said, I'll go to Chicago and give the speech. He said, Alexander, that sounds great. I said, I got to warn you, Richard. It's going to be like just a whole bunch of Dr. Seuss references. He's like, oh, no, I think that will work. I think that'll work. I said, no, Richard, you're thinking, oh, the places you will go. I'm talking 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. He's like, oh, no, it sounds great. So we kept talking. And after about 3 minutes, 3 minutes by the clock with a billionaire is like, forever, right? I'm thinking, okay, I'm a guest here. He's here for Rogers. Let me pull away. As soon as I did, he asked me another question. Alexander, what are you working on these days? Richard Branson said to me, Alexander, what are you working on these days? What did they teach you? Have your elevator pitch ready. Know what to say, whatever. They taught you how to extract value, didn't they? Now that I've cornered you, let me find a way in which you can use your time and energy to make me feel better, or give me a photo, or tell me what I should read, or just tell you how good I am. But when I was like, you know what, I'm overstaying my welcome, I'm very connected, he's like, what are you working on? So what do you think I said at that point? I didn't say anything about my consulting career. I didn't say anything about being a strategist. I'm like, I get to talk with a mind like this. Let's talk about ideas. I said, Richard, I'm working on something called future nostalgia. And I'm playing with the idea that right now I'm 35, let's say. How will I feel when I'm 40 about a decision I made when I was 50? How can I look back and forward at the same time and make better decisions? And he took my arm. He said, Alexander, if that's what you're thinking about, you're heading in the right direction. And when he took my arm, he felt my biceps, right? And they ain't too, I got a little bit going on. And he said, Alexander, we should play doubles together. I said, absolutely. I said, you play up, I'll play back. And so we had joked, we laughed, we hugged, 20 minutes went by. And then I was like, oh, okay, great talking to you. You know when you turn around, you don't realize everyone's looking at you, and you turn around and they go back to whatever they were doing? That's what happened. Let's break it down, yes? I have a client who's a billionaire in London. He knows Richard Branson. I said, Ryan, why do you think you spoke to me for so long? He said, Alexander, all day long, people are like, how can I get advice from you, tips from you, tell me. He's like, you were an oasis in his day because you're the first person who connected with him as a human and talked about values. And he said, he will remember you the next time he saw you. And the last thing he said to me, he's like, I can't wait to connect with you again. I'm thinking, man, how did I get there? Did I get there by looking up this person and saying I should go out for coffee with you only if you have an MBA like me? Only if you have whatever? Someone connected with me on values and I gave it my all. I didn't do my best. I didn't come here to do my best. You don't deserve my best. You deserve my all. Yes? And because of that, she wanted to put me in that situation where I'd meet those kinds of people. It's just one jump from giving my all to a situation like that. So I've come up with an equation that I want to show you here as we get towards the end here. And the equation is quite simple. I call this the greatness equation. This is something you want to take a snap of, yes? Be the best possible you times the biggest positive impact. It's that simple. This half of the equation is your talents, your time, your energy, your passions, your values. Biggest positive impact is yourself, the people you love, and the world around you, in that order. So what would happen? What would happen if we made the biggest positive impact not being ourselves? What would happen if we put a 0 on this side of the equation? Anyone? The whole thing would be 0, right? So if we don't develop into the best possible version of who we really are, with your individuality, then you can't. What would happen if we kept investing in ourselves and we didn't have impact as the game? What would happen if that one was 0? What would happen to the equation? Yeah. So the lesson here is very simple. It's very, very simple. It's not far away. It's not hidden. You don't have to find it. You don't have to discover how to be great. Every moment you're in, you have to ask yourself one simple question, and that is, and now I'm going to use the back button because I actually need it. With every decision, am I okay with this action representing everything that I'll be in legacy? If I was never a musician, if I was never a baseball player, if I was never a strategist, if I never went to school, am I okay with this moment at Venture Weekend with all my new friends? Am I okay with this moment representing everything that I will ever be in legacy? Yes. Yes, I'm okay with it. Just like last night when I was losing my voice, I still gave my friends all my energy, but made sure I got enough sleep to be here. Because I understand that this is where I'm great. Right here. When you go back upstairs or go there, that's where you're great. That's not to get to where that's it. And the cumulative effect of that equation, the cumulative effect of that will be the legacy that you leave behind. Sounds good? Absolutely. Okay, so let's see if anyone remembers all 3 rules. I don't think I actually summarized them here, right? What was the first one? Nah, I kind of, I'm 40 now, so say that again into my good ear, yeah? Yeah, your actions. Even when things go wrong, your freedom to choose your next action is completely up to you. Now, that's a freedom you can give away. You can let somebody take that from you, but that couldn't be taken from Viktor Frankl. Even when he was in a concentration camp, he could still choose his attitude in the next situation. The second rule, do you remember that one? That one's a little trickier to remember. Choose actions that are there you go, that are aligned with your values, so you're comfortable in your values, but you're uncomfortable in your actions, right? So in every action you do, I want to say, does my heart beat for this? Is this something I care about? Good. Now, am I afraid that I'm going to fail? Yes, because failing constructively will pale you. You can't succeed your way to greatness. It's just not the way it works. You won't have enough, you won't try things that are hard enough. You need to build resiliency. You can't get courage unless if you're scared. Can you imagine? I'm a courageous person. You can only be courageous if there's something to be courageous about. You have to build your resiliency. Don't fear failure. It's necessary. Number 3, with every decision, ask yourself, am I okay with this action? Not if I didn't die today, but if it was the only thing that I was ever represented by, am I okay with that? So every moment is everything. You're bringing all your past, all your future, everything you'll ever be to the here and now. Sound good? Yes, so I'm going to take one step further, yes? I'm going to ask you to say a pledge with me today. And I made a decision about 5 years ago, because you know how we read, you know how people read in class when they have to stand up and read? We the people, that's how we read. And I made a decision, when I read out loud, I'm gonna read with purpose. Because every action I do it for greatness, so I project. So if you believe that you wanna follow this path of greatness, I put together a pledge and I want you to read it with me. Sound good? I just told you to do everything and sound good. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Hey, Doug, I think I'm gonna follow that thing called greatness, man. It's not time to be cool, it's time to be big. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, read this with me. It's the greatness pledge. Here we go. I will be mindful of the greatness equation for each and every one of my actions, not just my personal, business, and family goals. I understand that greatness is a call I answer through the seemingly unimportant incremental decisions I make moment by moment. I know that if my plans are out of line with my purpose, I won't get to where I truly want to go. The place where I am the most me, a place of lasting joy and personal peace, the place from which I will make the biggest positive impact on the world. This is what greatness is, and it is the only goal in life that matters. Give yourself a round of applause. And thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Subscribe on YouTube and follow Alexander Michael Gittens now on Instagram. Connect with Alexander Michael Gittens for keynote speaking and media details. For articles, social media links, and all other information, visit alexandermichaelgittens.com.